dear Peter. Doug was a man about town, expansive and irrepressible, and I always understood that I would have to share him with the world. One of the silver linings of the pandemic was that I didn't have to share him in the evening, at least for 3 years, and we actually had dinner together every night for the first time in our 21-year relationship. I met Doug in 2001 at a Spiral Foundation holiday bazaar in Pacific Palisades. Doug wasn't there shopping for trinkets and baubles. He was there looking for love. He approached me and said, "Did I hear you say you're going to Sedona for Thanksgiving?" "So am I." He really was. That was a setup for a first date. One long first date that lasted until he took his breath on December 23rd. Doug was a connoisseur of intuitive counselors and spiritual guides of the mystical persuasion, since being a lawyer to the New Age entrepreneurs in Berkeley and Marin in the 70s, until he came to Los Angeles. One particular advisor is a psychic and astrologer named Kit Wilkins, who was Doug's trusted advisor for more than 3 decades. Kit couldn't be here today, but his beautiful wife and daughter, Rosemary and Kat, are here today from Ojai. Kit had just done a reading for Doug, a tarot reading, and had told him that he would be meeting his wife in about 2 months. Those of you who have seen his play, The Last of the Knotts, will recall that Doug did not believe that home and family was the place to find love. Around the same time, I was referred to Kit Wilkins as one of the best psychics in the world. I was a divorced single mother, and it had been 9 months since my only son, Edward, had enlisted in the military before 9/11. And now the sabers of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan were rattling. It was a profound reading in which Kit Wilkins told me that I would also be meeting my husband in about 2 months. So on our first date, Doug entertained me and my Sedona sisters over Thanksgiving dinner with witty, mystical conversation. Doug and I stepped outside, probably to smoke some pot, and I mentioned the name of Kit Wilkins. Doug exclaimed, "You know Kit Wilkins?" We both knew instantly the significance of that coincidence. And in that alchemical moment, we recognized that destiny was knock, knock, knocking. Doug rolled out his magic carpet and I jumped on. We were and still are soulmates. Kit has continued to be there and to advise us through the years. For example, within an hour of a rather cosmic meeting with the realtor at a house in Ojai in 2016, Doug called Kit, who said, "You'll live a lot longer if you move to Ojai." Doug had a serious heart attack in 2012, and the only thing he wanted was more time. In the afternoon of December 23rd, on the 10th day of Doug being in the intensive care unit, a pair of doctors invited me into the room where life and death decisions about continuing life support are made. Doug was sedated and being breathed on a ventilator, and now his organs were shutting down. The doctors offered options, but no hope. I asked them to give me some time alone to think, pray, and meditate before making the decision. I was confused by this offer to cut Doug open and explore, so I called Bip, Doug's Harvard Law School roommate, who is now trained in hospice, and I asked him for his wise counsel. A minute later, our Qigong teacher texted me, instructing me to begin chanting Namo Amitabh, calling Amitabha Buddha to come and escort Doug home. And then Kit Wilkins called. And he was doing a reading for someone when he was suddenly visited by Doug, out of body. He interrupted his reading and was willing to be a messenger for Doug. And Doug asked him to tell me
No more procedures, freeing me from that decision. He said that Doug was smiling like a Cheshire cat, and that Doug told him to tell me that there would be many, many blessings coming. That was an understatement. The past few months have been sacred and magical beyond what I could have imagined. Several people who beloved my Doug have told me of blessings, miracles that they have received and they believe came from him. The most significant of those blessings for me is feeling the presence of Doug, soul, every day, walking beside me, especially on his hike, and knowing deeply and profoundly that our love is eternal. In 2016, Doug wrote a short autobiography for the Yale Yearbook 50th reunion, which you can read on his website. And in the last paragraph he writes, "After some hard traveling on a twisted road, this poet, performer, mystic playwright disguised as a lawyer has finally found a soft landing. Risking humiliation on stage is a small cost for doing what I love. I hope to be able to continue to tend my creative fires into the great void. May it be so."
Oh.